Hello, and thanks for joining me. You know, this Get to Know Me tag has been going around BookTube for a while now, and I just recently watched Richardson Reed's post his responses to the tag. And since I haven't done one of these tags in a while, and this one sounded kind of like, just generic kind of fun, I decided I'd go ahead and just upload my responses to it as well. So let's just dive into it. There's quite a few questions, so I'll kind of try to just run through them fairly quickly. Number one. Are you named after anyone? Yes, I am named after my grandfather's first name was Eston, and my father's middle name was Eston, and I'm named after both of them. Next, when was the last time you cried? So my mother passed away in April of this year, so a couple of months ago, and I think that's the last time I cried. I can, get a good tearjerker or something. I can cry at a movie or whatnot, but don't think I've seen any of those in the last couple of months. So I think it's probably been back when my mother passed away a couple of months ago is the last time I cried. Next, do you have kids? I do not have kids. Next, if you were another person, would you be a friend of yourself? That's really a good question because my first thought was, sure, because I'm likable, I'm a nice person, I'm a cool guy. But then when I thought about it a little bit more, I was like, yeah, but if I didn't know me, how would I come across to a stranger version of me? So I hope that I would like me and be friends with me because I think I'm a friendly and nice guy. So I think I would, although I might have difficulty understanding me just like some other people do. So I'm not sure, but I would hope so. Next, do you use sarcasm a lot? I don't. I think I used to use it a lot more. I do appreciate good sarcasm, but I don't think I pepper my language too much with sarcasm right now, although I can still throw out a zinger here and there. What's the first thing you notice about people? What's the first thing you notice about people? That's a good question too. I think I probably notice, I try to get a feel for a vibe for if I think this person's friendly or if they're being genuine or not. I think I probably approach people that way first. First thing I notice is how they're reacting to me, if they're reacting in a friendly way. That's probably what I notice first, I think. More so than probably clothes and stuff like that. If I'm actually talking to someone, obviously if I'm just passing them on the street, it's just a superficial thing, like I notice what they're wearing or something like that. All right, so next, what is your eye color? I have green eyes. All right, next, scary movie or happy endings? Definitely happy endings. I'm not much of a scary movie kind of guy. Happy endings are more for me. All right, next question, favorite smells. So I do have a thing for scented candles. Yes, I do. I like in the U.S. we have this brand called Yankee Candle. They're kind of pricey, but they are well worth it to me. I have one in there now, Rose, which I was burning last night, and rose, a really sweet scent, rose the flower. But I think probably overall my favorite scent is probably vanilla, but I also like sandalwood, evergreen, lavender, lots of scents. Love a good scented candle or scented lotion or something like that. Scents. All right, what is next? What's the furthest you've ever been from home? So I looked this up. It is Amman, Jordan. Is 5,900 and something miles from where I live now. And coming in fairly close second was Buenos Aires, Argentina, which is also over 5,000 miles away, but slightly less, several hundred miles less far than Amman, Jordan. So Amman, Jordan is the furthest I've ever been from where I currently live. Next, do you have any special talents? I do not think I do. No, I'm not really talented in anything as far as art or musical instruments or things like that. I can read music, and I can play a bit of piano, and I can play the clarinet. But I don't have a particular talent for it. I don't think so. I would say no. Okay, where were you born? I was born in a small town in Arkansas called Stuttgart. We call it Stuttgart. It's like Stuttgart from Germany, but it's spelled the same as the German version, but in Arkansas it's pronounced Stuttgart. Okay, what is next? Where were you born? What are your hobbies? So hobbies, to me, I define a hobby as something you spend time on. So reading, obviously, is a hobby of mine. Nonfiction might be a separate hobby than reading fiction because it's like learning specific things about specific topics. So I'm a big history buff, so various topics around history, I consider that be a hobby. I also really like music and opera, so I enjoy, learning about that and exploring different recordings and things like that. So I consider that a hobby as well. I attend operas and concerts, when I can. So I think that would also be count as a hobby. I also recently learned how to knit. So not sure I've been doing that long enough to count that as a hobby, but I'm going to count that as a hobby because I do like doing it so far. And so yeah, knitting as well. Okay, what is next? Do you have any hobbies? Do you have any pets? Yes, I do. I have 2 dogs and a cat. The cat was sitting right here, and then when I started filming, she jumped down and she went over there, and the dogs are over there too. So the dogs and cat are usually around me somewhere when I'm filming. A lot of times they're around me, but they very rarely make appearances in the actual videos. But if you watch, they do pop into videos here and there. So yes, 2 dogs and a cat. Next, do you have any siblings? Yes, I have 1 sister. Yes. Next, what do you want to be when you grow up? Well, if I could grow up again, I would like to be an archivist. That was my goal originally when I was a kid even. I wanted to either be an archaeologist or an archivist and work in a museum. So that didn't work out for me for several reasons, but if I could go back and do it, I would probably try to go that route. I work in the biotech industry now, and I do like what I do, but my dream job would have been to be an archivist working in a museum, preserving materials for the future. All right, so next, who was your first best friend? So a cousin of mine, Joe, was my first best friend, I think, and I was his first best friend. He said on repeated occasions. So we were very close growing up. We lived in a kind of a rural area where a lot of times your first best friends are your family members there in that kind of culture, and that's where I come from. So yeah, my cousin Joe. Next, how tall are you? I am 5'8" and shrinking. 5'8". Funniest moment throughout school. That's hard to say. I grew up in this rural area, very, very small town in rural Arkansas. So we had a pretty small high school, little small town, not a lot to do in this town. On the weekends, we had a court square. There's a courthouse set in the middle because it was the county seat. And then there was this square, like a thing around the courthouse, and you could drive, and the traffic all went counterclockwise, and there wasn't any lanes or anything like that. If it were divided up in lanes, it would have probably been like a 4-lane thing. So it's pretty big. You just kind of drive in circles, and so people go real slow and go up beside each other and talk to each other in cars, And then on New Year's Eve, at midnight, the traffic would reverse. People go around the court square backwards. So that's kind of amusing, I think, because it's just like we didn't have a lot to do. So driving backwards on the square on New Year's Eve was kind of like a thing. So, but yeah, small town like that, rural. There's a lot of funny stories through high school, for sure. All right, next, how many countries have you visited? Oh, I don't know the actual number. I've been to quite a few. I mean, I'm not that well traveled, but I've been to Argentina, and I've been to quite a few places in Europe and England, Scotland, Germany, been to Israel and Jordan, like I mentioned earlier. Like to go back over to the Eastern Mediterranean. Been to Istanbul. Yeah, so quite a few, but I don't know the actual number. Not enough yet. I'd like to do some more traveling someday. All right, what's next? What was your favorite, worst subject in high school? My favorite subject was definitely history. Close second was probably English when we did literature, and not English when we did grammar. But yeah, favorite definitely history. Worst subject by far, any kind of math. I struggled with math. Oh gosh, algebra 2, geometry. I had to do these. I felt, for trying to get into college, but Oh gosh, I had to have a tutor for algebra. Oh, mathematics it just didn't work for me very well. So math's definitely my worst subject. And next, what is your favorite drink? I wonder if this means alcoholic. If we're talking about alcoholic drink, I like gin and tonic. I like brandy. Like I keep brandy here, drink brandy periodically. If we're talking about just regular drinks, lately what I've been drinking most is those carbonated water things, like La Croix here in the U.S., that brand. They come in cans and they're like flavored essence with whatever and they're sparkling water. So that's kind of my thing right now. Juice I like, so, favorite drink. Next, favorite animal. Ooh, I like all animals really. I mean, I like them, appreciate them for what they are. Part of our world, part of our, we co-evolved with them, and so they're just. I don't know that I have a favorite per se. So let's just say I don't have a favorite animal. Favorite perfume. Again, I don't have a favorite perfume because I don't really use colognes and stuff. I do like scents though, so I use things like lotions and things like that. So to put on my body, like lavender or mint, things like that. I use those fragrances. What would you or have you named your children? So, like I said, I don't have any children. If I had children, though, I think I would name them either after family members, certain family members. I personally like the name Eston. So I would like that, or also I also like the standard old names that no one seems to name children anymore. Like for boys, John, and for girls, Mary. I would be perfectly happy with kids named John and Mary. I'm not really hard to please when it comes to naming, I don't think. Or maybe it's not hard to please, maybe it's I lack imagination. Oh, yeah. All right, so what sports do you play, have you played? All right, so I'm terrible with sports, cannot do sports, team sports, I'm horrible at them. Individual sports I was better at, but still not that great at those. Really, the only one I really ever kind of halfway excelled at was bicycling, and I never did that competitively. I did do it in groups, but not competitively, and I'm way out of practice with that, and I don't even own a bike anymore. Oh, gosh, I'm running out of time, so let's get to the next few. Who are some of your favorite YouTubers? So I like nutritionfacts.org is one of my go-to channels. It's about nutrition. I also like, I've been listening to Yuval Noah Harari, who is an author who wrote Sapiens and Homo Deus. He has a channel. I've been catching up on his videos. Who else? Those are the two. I listen to Yale has a channel, Yale University, and they put a lot of lectures and things. I listen to those sometimes, especially if they're related to history. I listen to stuff like that on YouTube. Next, how many girlfriends, boyfriends have you had? Oh gosh, you guys do not want to know my romantic and sexual history, I'm sure. No, we'd be here all day. Let's just say I've really had 4 significant relationships, I guess you could say it that way. 4 different relationships in which we actually cohabitated. So 4. All right, next. Favorite memory from childhood. I have a lot of memories from childhood, especially around my grandmother and my cousin Joe that I mentioned. I do have a memory also of my mother. One of my earliest memories actually on the swing set, and my mother's talking to the Avon lady, had come to the house, and I jumped on the swing set, and she's talking to the Avon lady, and I was going like super high and being really reckless because she wasn't paying attention to me. And then when the Avon lady was starting to leave, my mother noticed that. She was like, "Get off of that!" So that's a fun memory. Yeah, what's next? How would you describe your fashion sense? I love fashion. I love Project Runway. I love how watching how fashion gets created, and those people who have that creativity to actually put clothes together and what's all involved with that. I think it's fascinating. So I enjoy Project Runway. I do not normally. I mean, I have my T-shirt collection, but I think my partner basically dresses me. He buys most of the clothes, and I just wear what's around. I do like to look nice, but I don't. I'm not the one to shop for it so much. I just kind of leave that to him. All right. Next, what phone do you have? I have an iPhone, so iOS. And then last, tell us one of your bad habits. Bad habit, oh gosh, lately it's been talking myself out of going to the gym. That's a bad habit. At the same time, I've been binging on ice cream about every 3 or 4 days, which is also another bad habit. So I'll just say those two. So yeah, out of time. That was a fun tag to do. So until next time, take care. Bye.